facts from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in July 9th, 2021, and the stock market is going to get volatile again. And I got 3 stacks that I'm looking at coming in tomorrow, but today was a huge shift. You are looking at the global map. Every single one of these down arrows is signifying more than a 2% drop, and most of the world today sold off, and there was many reasons. The bonds continued to go crazy. What we talked about yesterday, that did come up today, but there was a big shift from the reflation trade all the way down to even central bank policy that we need to discuss. So today was a very wild day. We also got to make an awesome play. We were able to do $400, 100% in 1 minute exactly. We got the play right here, so you can see it there. 12:31:02. We bought the play, 48 cents, and then 1 minute later we were able to sell it. But the piece of news that it relates to, the company Boeing, it is very important as well. So I'll show you guys that clip. We have to go over what happened in the market today, the plays that we made, the plays that we're looking at for tomorrow, and then all of the company events and how we need to set up for the end of the week and then, well, next week too. But let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you subscribe. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, if you understand how small good decisions can change your whole entire life, and you're smiling right now, then yeah, we're the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post or watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So right off the bat, today started with the Olympic news. We got that last night. They made an announcement that they will not be letting people attend the games, and that sent futures going from there. The main reason being, this is just another one of these things that is hampering the reopening, where you're getting a lot of places all around the world, from Hong Kong, China, Japan, even in the United States. People are changing a lot of these plans, and now they're opening and reopening and then closing again and getting worried about the Delta, Lambda, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Zeta, Eta, Theta, Iota, all that, right? But that had a big effect today. We even got to talk about it a lot. A lot of analysts, a lot of market participants, they are talking about the reflation trade kind of losing steam. This whole running into the commodities or the reopening trade. Again, the term is kind of used interchangeably, but overall, this was part of the big shift. But that's what it started with, and then it got a little bit more crazy because there in the morning or the day before, we had Chinese comments from China regarding the easing from their central bank. So now we have been talking about tapering, and how we are going to normalize the central bank policy and go back to normal. But then go look at the other side of the world. China is now talking about cutting their rates again, which has a lot of people talking about, wait a minute, is there kind of a global or demand slowdown? Or at the very least, China could be highlighting how difficult it actually will be to emerge from the pandemic after everything going on, because that is a sign that they are looking to spur the economy, even though they have pumped in a lot just like everybody else over the last 12 months. So those were the main issues, but then the bonds and everything else really took steam from there. Every single global market, or most of them, closed down below 2%. That's what made it crazy. And then here's a quote here. This is from Art Hogan. The name may sound familiar. He's the chief market strategist at National Securities, but he says, it feels like we have moved from thinking inflation will be transitory to fearing growth will be transitory. And that really is talking about the whole reopening trade and economic growth, where, yeah, you got this big growth boom, but that may actually be transitory instead of the inflation. So brings up a lot of things to think about here. You could even see a lot of people, again, were talking about the reflation trade and that kind of fading away. You're seeing China talk about this policy shifts. There's been a lot of big changes, and we'll talk about even what the ECB did, but this chart is kind of showing the relative stability that we had, and some people are saying now we are due for a pause. Even Wells Fargo, one of their chief strategists, he said he expects a 5% correction before this season in earnings, so we'll see about that. But it has been over 8 months right now without a 5% pullback. The longest time we ever saw that was 20 months, and if you were watching stream today, we brought up a lot of stuff about China in the past, and again, it was very applicable to what we saw today. But notice that is the exact same period we were talking about from about about 2015, 2016, all the way coming into early 2018. So the bonds kept going crazy. Those yields keep coming down. People are talking and asking a lot of things now, but overall, you got a lot of shifts today in how people are viewing the market, the recovery, everything like that. So now a lot of people are on edge and the bonds are backing that up. So there was that. And then also today, and this is why you saw it with the market, our market did very, very good. Again, I showed you that map there. Most of the countries in the world were down today, but then at the Euro close, once all of those markets were closed, our markets were able to go up because there was also changes that we saw with the European Central Bank, and they changed their inflation target. So I got another chart to show you, and you could dive really, really deep into this issue, but it just highlights the main thing with China. I'm trying to summarize it and make it simple here, but it is highlighting a lot of central banks shifting their attitudes coming into the second half. And if you notice something, our central bank hasn't. So when you're looking at some of the top dogs and seeing what they've done, a lot of them are changing up and switching up and kind of saying, okay, this is what we expected. We haven't really seen this. People are trying new things. We haven't. But it seems like a lot of people are getting a different taste here of what we are supposed to be expecting through the end of the year, or we were actually right on target and Jerome Powell is Tom Brady. But here's the chart right here. You could even see it. Their core inflation in Europe has not moved at all. And again, this is probably because of energy prices. You could see the normal inflation came up, but they have a 2% target and they've not been able to get past that. And take a look at the chart here. It has been like this for almost a decade, or it's been a decade since they have gotten to this 2% inflation level. So to see them shift and what they shifted to, they actually copied the Fed. They said they're going to shift to a more average inflation to kind of get a little bit of an overshoot to hopefully get everything spurred in the direction that they want. So either way, there's a lot going on. It has to do with central banks. The bonds are definitely showing something, but now you are getting to get the narrative here of where is going to be the growth. Are we going to have sustained growth? How are we going to emerge from the recovery? And how is the recovery going to continue with a lot of stuff getting in the way like Delta and all of that stuff? So it is getting pretty exciting. There's a lot of stuff. I wouldn't expect an immediate movement just yet, but we will need confirmation. And again, what you saw today with China and what they announced, I only gave you the summary. We talked a lot about it on stream today. That will be key. However, we are going to need some level of confirmation, and then we will really get to see what's happening. But it is looking like either volatility or a lot more news, and then earnings could get the ball rolling and get a lot of things popping off. So I hope you're ready, but that is what you got today as far as the company news and events. Kind of a lot, very simple, but a lot of stuff even in the upgrade downgrade space. The first thing we got today was Twitter and NFL. They expanded their deal, and this was one of those pieces of news that when it did come out had a very good effect on Twitter stock, but it had some small reaction, so I would watch that coming into the next few days. The next piece of news, this is the one where we were able to make that play that we got $400 in about a minute there, and this was because there was an announcement or a rumor. It didn't have a named source, but it came from Bloomberg, and they said that Boeing is nearing their test flight for the 737 MAX. So this does not implicate that there's any orders made, but a lot of analysts have already commented on this. This is a huge development to a 2-year situation. The 737 MAX has been banned in China for over 2 years now, while at the same time, there's over 170 nations that have actually reinstated the MAX except for China. So this is going to be key. There's a lot of things in what it's saying of how things are moving forward. This report is a very good sign. It was not really expected. Hard to price this in because, again, it's been about 2 years. You haven't really had an update. And the thing that makes this very hard to price in, and it could cause some volatility here in the short term, is because how this situation plays out, it is going to say a lot about US-China relations. And some people have even argued that them taking so long compared to everybody else is kind of a strategy to use this as a political bargaining chip. So this one runs a little bit deeper there. There's a lot of implications, but big news. The stock popped off it, and I'm sure we are going to see more of that tomorrow. So watch out for that. After hours, we got news from Pfizer. They're planning to request an FDA emergency authorization for the third COVID booster shot. So did not get a chance to take a look at the stock after hours, but we've kind of seen how that played out. You saw some volatility with vaccine stocks today, even like Novak. So keep your eye out for that. Another one in the ETF bond space, the BlackRock Municipal Bond ETF saw the biggest inflows today, which was kind of surprising, while at the same time now, a lot of the mortgage stocks actually saw some of their biggest outflows in 3 months or this last quarter. So you're getting a lot of activity in the bond space. And why are people going for that? That is really highlighting this whole reflation trade. Is it dead or alive? So there's that. Bank of America, I believe this one came in earlier today or after hours, but they created a new cryptocurrency team dedicated to researching crypto. So cryptos did not do good today. They have been doing good the rest of the week. So we will see how that plays out, but that is very positive. And then in the morning, you got really bad downgrades, a lot of financial downgrades, and then home builders like D.R. Horton and KB Homes, they were downgraded by RBC Capital, and they actually had a pretty negative effect. So definitely keep your eye on some of these upgrades and downgrades, especially as it's pertaining to the reflation trade or these financials. And then another downgrade type thing, Jefferies, they downgraded not the stock, but the second quarter sales estimates on Wayfair. They dropped after hours. GM got a new outperform rating at Wedbush for a price target of $85, and this is because of their electric vehicle efforts. And then jumping back in the day, Biogen, they gained on regulatory approval of an updated label over the controversial Alzheimer's drug. They updated the label and got to add some stuff to it. They got that approval, so that is good. And then finally, we saw this in the morning and then throughout the day. Then it got reiterated a little bit later, but KSU and Rail. KSU dropped, Rail went up, but this Biden infrastructure plan, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Even there is a business organization now that is lobbying to get the current bipartisan deal passed. It's like 20 different companies. But one thing that we got out of the administration today is that they were looking to promote competition in the ocean shipping and rail industries after seeing some of these big price hikes that we've witnessed over the last 6 months or so. So we are also going to be getting China's CPI data and the G20 starting tomorrow, or at least for the finance and central bankers. That is going to be key, but most of our work is really, really cut out for us. Keep watching the bonds, keep watching the shifts between big caps and small caps. The industry's affected by what's going on with these rates, but now everything that you're seeing overseas with China or central banks, those are taking really, really, really big tones right now. You want to watch those, especially China, because any rapid or big changes, this could start to have a lot of implications, and the market might get ready to move big in either direction and get ready for earnings. So I hope you're ready too, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 3 different plays or 2 different types, but the first thing that I want to show you here is this Boeing play, because this was executed fully live. So this is the live streaming channel. We post this every day, Stock Market Live, youtube.com/the stock market. And make sure you like the video, baby. God bless you, and shout out to all those who have. But you get to see this trade here. I want you guys to take a look. I think it's pretty interesting. There's a lot you could take from the trade. A lot of people had questions. I was able to answer them live, but one of the biggest keys here is making sure you are following along with the news. We have tutorials on how to get the news, but don't underestimate the fact we are live every single trading day and have been for years. You could tune in here, and this is the real value that we do like to provide to a lot of people, not to mention go get that long-term, baby. So we'll go over the play, but I actually want you to be able to just see the actual live trade in general, and that's what this is. Hold on, it might pop this stock there. That just came in pretty early. Jet still grounded in China. Status of Max seen as harbinger of U.S.-China relations. People were familiar with situation on China describes the moves. China ban remained long after other nations. They were the first to ground the Max too. Oh shit, I put BABA, not BA. There it is. There it is. How are we looking? All right, I did it. What's the last trade? I paid for the same price as the ones before. I like that. That's a big pop. Nah, so we're still, that's a fun. Now I got the next week's on that. You guys probably saw me do that live. Yeah. Which ones did I get? Those are already doubled, I think. That's July 16th. Eggs towards China. Look at that. We're fast on the news, baby. I even put in the wrong ticker. I was looking at BABA. I'm going to flip those too. Because I'm probably already up 100% on that. Or at least I got, what, 50? Oh, yeah, I already got 100%. I'm going to flip out half. So I haven't even put out a stream alert. So you guys are getting to watch this. That's just $400 right there. Yep. Perfect. So now I got 5 free for next week. So there was the actual trade. Again, you got to see me do that on the TD Ameritrade. It was pretty funny. Again, I put the wrong ticker in, but now that was the news. We explained it. It is very important. And then you just really got to see the strategy that we talked about, but that was it there live. We got the news very, very early, and that was just the main key. Yes, it was interpreting the news and knowing that was a big deal. So thankfully, that news was pretty easy to get. We had it fast. It worked. All the things aligned. You saw me go quickly. I wanted to get an extra week of time. We've talked about this because a lot of news, we've been getting it a lot faster now. However, if you are selecting a different contract, it is creating a different opportunity. So that's why I went for the next week's, got those July 18th. That way I was able to capture the move very quickly. And then again, it went up 100% so fast. I put $400, almost $500 on a contract with a little bit amount of time. So I said, okay, make it free. And now I get to ride this out till next week. And based on that report too, we are expected to get another update towards the end of July. So this will not cover it. However, I'm going to watch it and then watch for the follow through, because even after that news came out, it wasn't really talked about too much. But out of all the analyst comments I read, it was favored very, very highly. So I'm liking it. Going to ride this out. I definitely think this will even be a good one for tomorrow as well too. So that is the first play. As far as the second play now, SPY puts. This is one I made today. Again, the move that you saw this morning, actually, the open was one of the 4th largest down ticks in history. It actually looked very, very ugly, and a lot of people were definitely scared about it in the morning, but things were able to shift and get a little bit normal after the euro closed, thankfully. So I wanted to just take advantage of the opportunity. I wanted to get exposure, but I wanted to start with debit spread. So my logic is here. I could go put a couple $100, get a debit spread, get somewhat close to the money. I'll show you the play, the max reward. In this one, I spent a little bit more to get closer to the money. That was the idea. But now too, if those get clapped over the next few weeks, you've seen how some of these SPY puts have played out. If there's no development from China or anything else, and those get back to normal, all the earnings are good. The idea should be that those will be cheap. And then if we do get policy or any update later, I could go for some more naked puts without having to do a spread, and they theoretically should be cheaper. So as far as the play to see what I did here, I went with the debit spread. I bought 5 of the July 16th 418 puts. Again, short amount of time, spent about $300 because my total was 60 cents per contract, shorted the 412s. So my max gain would be if this SPY went to 412 or anything 418, we would get dollar for dollar on here. But I spent 60 cents, $300. I believe the max gain on this is about $3,000. So you could see it right here. Yes, you got about $2,700, $300 what you pay. Break even at 417.40. Max gain is going to happen at 412. So a little bit expensive given the fact that it had a little bit less time, but today was very, very spooky. I don't know if anybody digested that besides all the reds. So wanted to make sure I got exposure because some of the other exposure I had didn't quite hit the same, even though we did have some TLTs working for us. But that is the second play. And then finally, they did a little bit better. They've been moving very, very interesting this week, but Walmart. And the logic is find a play that has been doing good. There were a couple names. I have them up on the rest of the plays, but anybody doing good, I really, really like. They got earnings. They've been stable. This might be a good one to either sell both ways, or if it is able to show some breakout strength relative to everything, I think this will be a really, really good one coming into earnings. So we will see. But those are going to be the main plays. As far as everything else, Boeing, like we said, overstock. We brought this one up yesterday, and even in the midst of all the red, they killed it today. So really, really like it. A nice surpriser there. Just keep your eye on there because this one might be a subtle sleeper that could really do its thing, especially coming into earnings. I really think that's the only thing that will kill momentum is if the earnings do not come in good. However, most of the time they don't really have high expectations because overstock has been flat over the last few years. And that's even one of the reasons why it got upgraded, because people have talked about the earnings margins haven't really moved in the last 5 years, but you compare this year and last year, it's breaking out of the last 5 years in general, and it could be setting up a new trend. So keep your eye out for them. I really like them. Watch Rail. This was the one that shot up with the infrastructure play. KSU dropped, but they were very interesting. Watch PAGS. This one was a little interesting. It's a Brazilian bank. They made a buyout offer to buy Banco Brazil, and then they dropped dropped and then they popped randomly throughout the day. I didn't have a follow-up with that, but this was one of very few names that actually had some big moves besides Boeing and all that. And another one, Carver. This is Carver Bancorp. They closed up 84% and they had a really crazy move. You can see it here, but what makes it even crazier, there was no news at all. So something definitely happened there. Some people are saying it's a short squeeze and all that, so we will see, but watch them. Watch Amazon. They managed to hit all-time highs today and close up 1%, and even then, they saw some of the biggest call buying in history took place, I believe, yesterday and the day before that. So a lot of people like the Jedi deal. A lot of people are liking how they've been moving. They're showing to be a leader, so keep your eye out for them. Still holding that last contract. I want to do something with it, either ghetto spread or ride it into earnings, but overall, this has been a nice volume streak in everything that you've been getting out of Amazon. So watch them. Watch Baba. They dropped even more, and you can see it here. They are at this $200 level. I've been waiting for this one for a very long time, and this is a huge level because it usually has not broken past this. It has gained a lot of stability. This might change the trajectory of things, and just like take a look at what you are seeing. This is Alibaba. This is a good company for the most part, or at least up until we've seen a lot of the China regulatory stuff. But at the end of the day, you're like in the middle, you are into the thick of it, of everything that happened in 2020. So this is a very precarious level. It usually has a lot of support. We will see. And if you guys remember, I took a big L on some of those Baba puts, but I really did believe in this play and just this general idea because that level and everything in China was important. Those did come back to life a little bit. So these are still down. This might offer a discount, but you need the nail in the coffin for this to actually go through. So we will see what happens. But watch them. That's going to be key to watch. Boeing, like we said, I got Tilray up here. Not going to make a play on it. We will see, but I'm thinking this might get a little bit of light or any of the weed plays tomorrow. You got some positive weed comments by Chuck Schumer today. We'll see how that one plays out, but I wouldn't be surprised for news like that to kind of lead to a breakaway, and that's the type of market we're in right now with some of the breadth. Until some of the other negative news confirms or the bonds or anything like that, there is going to be some breakaway stories and all that. So watch them. Watch Walmart, like we said. Oracle, they got a positive mention. They dropped a little bit, so still holding that. I want to see its relative strength here and how that holds up because that one still could be in play. Starbucks did pretty good. They ended up closing red. I don't know why that candle's green, but they did not do too bad compared to everybody else, so keep your eye on them. Macy's, I really want to watch because they were down in the morning. Then a huge call sweep came in and they killed it, so it might end up being pretty good. And on top of that, US consumer credit came in today and it doubled expectations. So the consumer in the United States is looking pretty good, or at least they're willing to put things on credit. So watch that. Watch Biogen. Again, this was another leader. Anybody leading today, you really want to keep your eyes on that FDA drug label. Could reignite this stock again because now this gets rid of some of the other earlier concerns people have. So watch them. And then Tesla, they actually were able to do good today. I'm not too sure why, but we should be getting some auto delivery or some China data on them pretty soon. And then finally, UUP and the dollar. The dollar was quite magnificent today in the fact that you saw what we talked about where we said the dollar is going to move with the market and it's going to follow along, and then what's going to happen? They're going to break, and then the dollar starts going down, but now it took the market with it. But the real main thing here is bonds. This is actually one of your biggest bond streaks in history, believe it or not. You have not seen a move like this on yields going down since the last time we saw any of those TLT plays or hit those. So something is definitely brewing there, and we know what it is with some of the central banks, but the question is, how really aggressive are people going to be? Are people really freaking out? You are in the eye of this storm as far as transitory, so keep watching and keep your head in the game, but I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, baby, you got a second chance. Don't blow it. But that code loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.